Mentoring to me it's one aspect of leadership that every leader really needs to invest in. The thing we got to remember, when Tom Brady went in the NFL, he didn't stop training. He kept trying to get better, trying to improve his skills. And that's what mentoring really is. We're there, whether you're a mentor or a mentee, but we're there to get better as an organization and as a team. And a lot of that requires one-on-one work. Situational leadership, everybody has different needs, different ways that they need to improve. So by mentoring, we could take that time, focus on the individual and what their requirements are to lift them to the level that they could go to the next step in the organization. I've had a really positive experience being mentored. I started civil service when I was 19 years old, and I was a typical 19-year-old. I was kind of a jerk, to be honest with you. Always ran my mouth too much, and one of the first positive mentors I encountered was actually out here when I got here a couple years later. There was a supervisor, and he kind of, I wouldn't say he took me under his wing or anything, but what he did do was he listened. And for somebody that young in that position, a lot of times that's what they need, is we just want to be listened to. And he would just sit there and listen, and a lot of the things I said were probably stupid, and he just kind of iced over those. And then when I'd hit on something that was poignant or something that was in an area where we should focus more attention, he'd readdress back to that. So I kind of learned through that, what things we should be doing and what things we shouldn't. Two of the big areas he focused on with me was process improvement and working with people. And I went to a school where I learned aircraft maintenance, and you don't learn anything about dealing with people. And you don't learn anything about process improvement. But really those are the two key factors to the job. We can hire mechanics all day. All of us are mechanics. But if you can't improve the work of the mechanic, improve the processes, then your organization ultimately is going to be lacking. As far as the people side, that's a tough nut to crack for anybody, and we could all use a little more help with that. So I would just kind of, as years went by, he's been in my organization since like 2004. He still mentors me to this day. But he's always just kind of asked me like what I'm doing with the folks at this point that work for me, but at that point just with coworkers or trainees, ones that I was working with. And when I would do something he approved of or that he thought was good, he would say, "Oh, I like that, that's good." And again, it helped me focus. The other thing that he did that really helped was he didn't concern himself with just my weaknesses. He taught me to work on your strengths, because ultimately that's where the bread and butter is. You can improve on your weaknesses all day long, but they're still going to be your weaknesses. But if you take your strengths, you can exploit them and really add the most to the organization, because it's an area you're already strong in. All future mentors, well, that's easy. I think I've already drilled it with this, and that's listen. That, and apply situational leadership. Every person out there is different. Everybody has different buttons that you have to push, and some people, they're different than others, and maybe they're a little tougher to figure out. But if you invest that time, it'll pay dividends in the future. And ultimately, investing time now, while the folks are still fairly new, that getting them into that leadership mindset as early as possible is always going to be the most beneficial. I want everybody who works for me to see themselves as a leader right now, and to see themselves as an improver. Not somebody who just does the work, but somebody who makes the work better, and focus on those aspects. But all mentors should do that, because Those are the two things that get you ahead, and those are the two things that'll help the most. Mentorship, a lot of it is about character. It's about the idea that you're always leading by example. So those times when you think no one's looking, those times when you think no one's watching you, don't take shortcuts. Don't ever compromise on your ethics, because that's when people will see it. That's when people will take note. And that's the mindset that you're going to pass on to the next generation.